ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ ಹರಿ ಓಂ. ಓಂ ಸಹನಾವತು ಸಹನೋ ಭುನಕ್ತು ಸಹ ವೀರ್ಯಂಕರವಾವಹೈ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿನಾವಧೀತಮಸ್ತು ಮಾ ವಿದ್ವಿಷಾವಹೈ. ಓಂ ಶಾಂತಿ ಶಾಂತಿ ಶಾಂತಿ. So yesterday we saw Sarva Vedanta Siddhantaihi Grathitam Nirmalam Shivam Sadacharam Pravakshyami Yoginam Jnana Siddhaye. I am going to explain to you the blemishless, auspicious Sadacharam, which is what is explained in all the Vedantic texts. Okay, that for whom Yoginam Jnana Siddhaye, for the yogis to gain the knowledge. Okay. Now, this is a part of invocation also. So, any invocation acts as a blurb. So, when you read it, you will understand if this, in a book, when you see the blurb, which is normally in the inside cover of the back or front or in the back side. So, when you read it, the blurb explains to you what this book is all about. So, once you read it, then it's a gist of it. So, once you read it, you understand if it is for me or not. You can give it up immediately. So, this second shloka or the first shloka normally acts as the invocation shloka normally acts as a blurb. Here, he explains what is that. So, what will be in the what is the blurb in the traditional text? You cannot give the gist. So, we say Vishaya, Sambandha, Adhikari, Prayojana. 4 things. Adhikari, Sambandha, Vishaya, Prayojana. Adhikari, the eligible seeker. Who is the eligible seeker for this text? So, that is said here. Yoginam, for the yogis. For the yogis. That is, he is the yogi. Who is the yogi? We already established. There are 2 kinds of yogi. One who is a practitioner, seeker. The other is one who is established in it. We are not writing a text for him. He is already established. Why will he need it? So, we are talking about the practitioner, the seeker. Okay? So, that yogi. The second one, adhikari, sambandha, relationship. What is the relationship? The book and there are different kinds of the book and the knowledge. I and the book, I and the knowledge. That's a triangular relationship, triangle love story this is. Okay, there is a connection between me and the book. There is a connection between the book and the knowledge, which it is providing me, which is the subject matter, and that knowledge to me. So, through the book, I am connected to the knowledge. Okay, so that is the relationship. Now, Sambandha, Prayojana, Adhikari, Sambandha, Vishaya, Prayojana. What is the Prayojana? What is the result I get of this book? Jnana Siddhaye, for gaining the knowledge. What is the subject matter? That is the important thing in the blurb, right? So he says Sadacharam. What kind of Sadachara? Nirmalam Shivam Sadacharam. What kind of Sadachara? Sarva Vedanta Siddhantai Grathitam Nirmalam Shivam Sadacharam. These the blemishless, auspicious Sadachara, which is explained in all the Vedantic texts. Which is like a garland which is tied in the Vedantic text. That is what I am going to explain. Okay, now we know the blurb. We presume that this is for us. Okay, now we enter the next shloka. prātaḥsmarāmi devasya saviturbharga ātmanaḥ vareṇyaṃ taddhiyo yo naścidānande pracodayāt. prātaḥsmarāmi devasya savituhu bharga de ātmanaḥ vareṇyaṃ taddhiyo yo naścidānande pracodayāt. So, if you know the Gayatri mantra, Bhargaha, Devasya, Dhimahi is one word which is missing. Okay? Bhargaha, Devasya. Dhiyaha, Yo, Naha, Pracodayāt. It is there. Tat Savituhu is also there. Okay? So, part of Gayatri mantra is what is explained here. Now, that is not the point. What is the point? What the point here is the prātaḥsmarāmi, the morning salutation by remembering, morning remembrance. When you wake up, immediately the first thing you have to do is remember. That's a prayer. This is prātaḥsmarāmi. Prātaḥsmaranam means morning remembrance. Means that's a prayer, morning prayer. First thing you wake up, you do the prayer. There are different ways. You look into the hands and say, Karagre Vasati Lakshmi, there is shloka. That is one possibility. Need not be, oh, I don't remember. Without seeing the book, I can't remember that. That does not really matter. The morning, when you wake up, immediately chant the mantra. Or simply, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. Anything. Your initiated mantra or some of this. That is good. Or Bhagavane, Ishvara. All these are some form of salutation, remembrance. Okay, so that is the first thing we have to do. The problem with today's generation is, see, early to bed, early to rise, etc. are old generation thing. Now, this generation, they go to bed later and they wake up later. And that too, only after the alarm rings. The problem is the alarm which they have is see earlier, that's a nice sound to remember. But now all the sounds are the morning itself. You will be waking in a daze. What happened? Suddenly awake. Anything can be a music, right? Alarm sound. So that is prātaḥsmarāmi, sattvika way of waking up. Okay, so remembering the Ishvara, remembering the self for us. How do you do that? Prātaḥsmarāmi. So he says, yaha naha jñānaṃ naścidānande pracodayāt. Yo naha jñānaṃ, one who is pracodayāt, prakruštena chodayāt. Chuda prerane is the root word. Chuda prerane, to prod, to guide, to push. One who nicely pushes us, prods us towards what? What does he push? Naha dehā, asmakam dehā, our intellect. One who pushes, prods our intellect towards what? Śidānande. Chidu anande, chidananda. Chidu ananda, chidanande. In the chit and ananda. In the consciousness and the bliss. In the bliss and consciousness, one who pushes our intellect to that devasya, to that deity. Normally, in Gayatri mantra, devasya is a deity, God. Here, devasya means divu prakashe dhatu. Divu prakashna, that which is effulgent. So, devasya means to that self-effulgent. Savituhu. Savituhu there means Savita, the sun god. Here, the one who is the cause for everything. Savituhu here means the one who is the cause for everything. That self-effulgent cause for everything. ātmanaḥ, which is nothing but the self. ātmanaḥ. Atma is Brahman. Atma is Brahman. ātmanaḥ ākāsha sambhūtaḥ. From the ether, from the self, ether came into existence. Atma is the self. So, in that self, vareṇyaṃ, which is superior. Vareṇyaṃ, sreshtham, which is superior. Bharga means prakasha. That superior effulgence, prātaḥsmarāmi, I meditate upon in the morning. I meditate upon that superior effulgence of the self, which is the cause for everything. That which whoever pushes us, that self which pushes us towards understanding itself, I salute that self. How is that? The self pushes me towards itself. How can that be? That is what is said in the Shruti. One who does good karmas, it automatically reveals itself to him. Means it guides him towards the truth. And one who does the bad karmas, it averts him from the truth. So that is what is said here. To that self, I salute, which prods me, which guides me towards knowing that existence, knowledge, bliss, self, nature of self is the prātaḥsmarāmi, is the morning meditation. Okay. Morning memory means, morning remembrance means morning meditation. That's the first meditation you do. Next is anvayavyatirekābhyāṃ jāgratsvapnasuṣuptiṣu yadekaṃ kevalaṃ jñānam tadevāsmi paraṃ bṛhat. Now, next thing is anvayavyatirekābhyāṃ jāgratsvapnasuṣuptiṣu yadekaṃ kevalaṃ jñānam tadevāsmi paraṃ bṛhat. Now, you are awake. You meditate upon that absolute self which guides us towards itself, and you wake up. Once you open your eyes, what do you do? Next is normally the natural thing is to put your leg on the earth. Then there is another prayer, etc. Right? Now here he says for the Vedantins, the next act is to inquire into the self. Now, inquiry means logic. This is where many seekers falter, because they are interested in studying all the Vedantic text which talks about Brahman, this, Brahman, that, you are Brahman, you are Brahman, you are Brahman, that's all. The moment there is a logical discussion, they will avoid it. They will give it as a choice. The problem is those logical and debate is what is making things very clear, precise. The moment you skip that as choice, the realization is also becoming a choice. You cannot skip anything here. So, anvayavyatirekābhyāṃ jāgratsvapnasuṣuptiṣu. Anvayavyatirekābhyāṃ. Anvaya means tatsatve tatsatvam. Vyatireka means tadabhave tadabhavah. Means what is that? When this exists, that exists. That is anvaya. When this does not exist, the other does not exist. That is vyatireka. I understand, but still. Okay. Anvaya means coexistence. Vyatireka means co-absence. Simple. Anvaya means coexistence. This exists, that also exists. Is coexistence. Bring that Ram and also Shyam. Oh, if you bring Ram, Shyam will come automatically because he will be there with him always. I didn't find Ram. Oh, you cannot find Shyam also because they always roam together, right? So you find something, the other thing also exists. That is coexistence, anvaya. You find something absent, the other will definitely be absent. That is co-absence, vyatireka. Okay, through this method of anvaya and vyatireka, through coexistence and co-absence, jāgratsvapnasuṣuptiṣu. Where do you have to apply this coexistence and co-absence logic? Jāgratsvapnasuṣuptiṣu. In the waking, dream, and deep sleep state. Anvayavyatirekābhyāṃ. In these three states, through the coexistence and co-absence, by inquiring into it. How do I inquire into it? Simple. Waking state exists. I exist. There is existence. Dream state exists. I exist there. Seeing the dream. I exist. Deep sleep state exists. And I exist. Because when I wake up, I know sukham aham aspapsam na kinchida vedisham. I slept very nicely. I didn't know anything. There is a memory. And every memory presupposes the experiencer. I was there. So there is an experiencer in the waking state, there is an experience in the dream state, and there is an experiencer in the deep sleep state. This experiencer is me, I, self. Whereas the waking state does not have dream state and deep sleep state. Dream state does not have the other two states. This exists, the others exist. This does not exist, the other does not exist. Okay, so in that state also, whether the other exists or not, the self exists in spite of the absence of the others. So, through this logic of understanding, the self is the substratum. We call it avastha, waking avastha, jagrat avastha, waking state. Okay. Then swapna avastha, dream state. Sushupti avastha, deep sleep state. And fourth is a swarupa. That is also turiya avastha. The fourth state is the fourth, which is the self, is also called a state with reference to these three states. That's not state. That's the substratum for all the states. Waking, dream, and deep sleep. Okay. So that yadekaṃ kevalaṃ jñānam. So in these three states, when you inquire into it properly, yad, that, which, ekam, one, kevalam means non-dual, jñānam, knowledge, that one non-dual knowledge. One knowledge is enough. Why you have to say non-dual knowledge, kevalam knowledge, alone knowledge? There is a reason. If you just say one, there are so many individuals. So you will start thinking multiple knowledges. So to remove that doubt, it is not only one, it is non-dual. There is nothing other than that except that. Jñānam. Okay, that one non-dual knowledge, which is a paraṃ bṛhat, which is the absolute. Paraṃ bṛhat, superior, bṛhat, big. Bṛhat means big. Superior, big. But here, bṛhat is used in the sense of absolute, because bṛhatvad brahmatvad brahma. Why it is called as Brahma? Bṛhatvad brahma. Since it is big, it is called as Brahma, meaning absolute. Okay, so paraṃ bṛhat, that absolute, which is a knowledge, which is a non-dual, which is a one, which is what is the which is what you understand through the inquiry into the three states of coexistence and coabsence. The inquiry of coexistence and coabsence in these three states. That self, absolute, tadevāsmi, I am that. Through the direct concomitance or indirect concomitance, through the coexistence or the coabsence. I call it direct concomitance and indirect concomitance. Okay. Simply put, through the coexistence and coabsence, whatever you understand is the self. Inquiring into the three states, you understand the self, which is in one non-dual nature. Okay. That absolute self, which is of the nature of one non-dual, inherent nature of being one non-dual state, that I am. This is what is the second stage of meditation in the morning after we wake up. Okay. Now, jñānājñānavilāso'yaṃ, jñānājñāne ca śāmyati, jñānājñāne parityajya, jñānamevāvaśiṣyate, jñānājñānavilāso'yaṃ, jñānājñāne ca śāmyati, jñānājñāne parityajya, jñānamevāvaśiṣyate. So he says, jñānājñānavilāso'yaṃ, I am this. This means the creation. What is this creation? Jñānājñānavilāsaha. Vilāsaha means vistaraha, expansion. This whole creation is just a expansion, manifestation of knowledge and ignorance. That is why Bhagavan Bhashyakara says in the Brahma Sutra Adhyasa Bhashya, in introductory Bhashya, Satyanrute mithuni kritya naisargiko ayam laukika vyavaharaha, loka vyavaharaha. Satyanrute mithuni kritya, by mixing the satya, truth, and anruta, false. By mixing this, we are doing this worldly transaction. That is what is said. Jnāna-ajñāna. Jnāna is reality, truth. Ajñāna is illusory. So, Vilasaha, the manifestation, I am, this is, whatever you see as this, whatever you refer to as this, is a manifestation of is just a manifestation of the reality and the non-reality. The reality, by reality and non-reality, we refer to the worldly understanding of reality and non-reality. Jnana and ajnana, knowledge and ignorance, in the sense of this is pot. I know pot. I don't know pot. I know cloth. I don't know cloth. The knowing and the ignorance of the worldly stage, this worldly state. Okay, so now this is what is the whole creation. I know, I don't know. It's all over. Nothing goes beyond the I know and I don't know. Okay, even if you say I don't care, that also is in this realm. In this realm. Okay, so then jnānāt jñāne ca śāmyati. When you understand the truth, jnānāt, when the real knowledge dawns, jnānāt, fifth case, when the real knowledge, hetu, reasoning, when the real knowledge dawns, jñāne ca śāmyati, this knowledge and ignorance of the world that merges in the real knowledge, jnāne. What is this? Jnana and ajnana, knowledge and ignorance merges in the knowledge. What is this? Why can't it merge in the ignorance? Don't ask this question, because the knowledge and ignorance be referred to is the worldly knowledge and ignorance. I am jñānājñāne, that merges in the real knowledge, the self. Okay, when the knowledge dawns, it merges in the knowledge, the self. Then what happens? Jñānājñāne parityajya. Therefore, by giving up this worldly knowledge and ignorance, jñānamevāvaśiṣyate. When you give up the worldly knowledge and ignorance, what remains is only the knowledge, the non-dual state. When you give up this external, this knowledge, this ignorance, so whatever remains is only the self. Okay, now next, now you are awake. The next thing normally is to brush your teeth or to relieve yourself. This is called as śauca. So what is that? Then starts the snana, etc. This is śauca, purificatory act, purifying, cleansing, right? So what is that? He says, atyantamalino dehī cātyantanirmalaḥ, asaṅgo'hamiti jñātvā, śaucametatpracakṣate. It all comes to the bathing, brushing your teeth, relieving yourself, take bath. Because you relieve yourself, you have to take bath. That's the rule. So you follow that. So shucha, shauche, to purify, to make yourself pure. So what is that purificatory act? Which is normally taking bath. Right? Taking bath is what is purificatory act. Now he says, atyantamalino dehah, dehī ca atyantanirmalaḥ, asaṅgo'hamiti jñātvā śaucametatpracakṣate. So what does he say? Atyantamalino dehah. Atyantamalino. Deha atyantamalino. This body is atyantamalino. Malina means impure. Atyanta means completely, totally impure. This body is something which is totally impure. Dehī means dehī cha, and the dehī. Dehī means deho yasya astiti. One who has the body means one who exists in the body, means one who is as though associated with the body is the dehī, the self. Because that is what is the identification. The self is associated with the non-self. The non-self is associated with the self. That is what is the superimposition. Vishaya, vishayi. So he says, dehī cha, this dehī. That is why Brahma Sutra is called as Sharira Kamimamsa. Sharire bhava Sharira. Sharira, dehī. Okay, so dehī cha. Dehī means the self, the atma. What about it? Atyantanirmalaḥ is absolutely pure. If the body is absolutely impure, the self is absolutely pure. Completely contrary. They're contrasting in nature. You can wash up, you can use the best of best soaps to clean yourself. Smells beautiful. 2 minutes, you sweat, the same smell. You cannot avoid it. That does not mean don't take bath. No, that's a part of life. If you are in society, you have to value the societal laws. Therefore, you have to take bath. If no one takes bath in a place where you live, you should not take bath. That is also a rule. Okay? So, because psychology says, if you do something different, you are crazy. You are already crazy because you are doing something different from others. Studying Vedanta. don't overdo it. So, atyantanirmalaḥ, the self is absolutely pure. The body is absolutely impure. There is no choice, it can be pure. With whatever you do, it is pure, impure. Aham asaṅgah. Therefore, since the self is pure, absolutely pure, I am, how can it be? Aham asaṅgah. I am that unassociated. Asaṅgah. Saṅga means association. Means not. I am unassociated, unattached, untouchable. I use that untouchable word. So I am the self is unassociated, untouchable. Okay, I have no association with the body or this world. Iti jñātvā, knowing this, etat śaucametatpracakṣate is what is śauca, is what is purificatory act. Knowing that the self is unassociated with anything, even this body which is ever impure, is what is called as śauca, this purificatory act. Okay, prakṣate, jñāni is the root word, means to know. They understand. Who understand? They nicely understand. Who understand? The knows of the self. They understand it to be this. Okay, this to be the purificatory act. manmano mīnavannityaṃ kridatyanandavaridho susnādastena prātaḥsmarāmi samyak vijñānavārinā manmanaḥ mīnavat nityam kridati ānandavaridho susnātah tena prātaḥsmarāmi samyak vijñānavārinā. Now, take a fish. That is what is the next example. That's given in different sense. The previous, with reference to the previous shloka, if you take this fish is always in the water, but it smells so bad. So, staying in the water does not make you pure. Okay? Now, the example here is with reference to the fish, which is ever in water, but still it does not get dirty. The fish which remains in water does not get dirty. That is the example here. Okay? Now, manmanaḥ mīnavat nityam kridati ānandavaridho susnātah tena prātaḥsmarāmi susnātah tena prātaḥsmarāmi samyak vijñānavārina. What does he say? manmanaḥ, my mind, ānandavaridho mīnavat nityam kridati. My mind place in ānandavaridho. Vari means water. Okay? Dha means dudhain dharana poshnayo, that which supports, that which contains. That which contains water. Abundance of water, which is ocean. What kind of ocean? Ānandavaridho. Ocean of bliss. My mind in the ocean of bliss, ānandavaridho, in the ocean of bliss, mīnavat, like a fish, nityam, always kridati, place. My mind always plays in the ocean of bliss. Okay. So, the fish which always plays in the water does not get sullied, does not get dirty. Similarly, my mind, which plays in the absolute bliss always, tena. Because of that reason, samyak vijñānavarina susnata. It is ever pure. Susnata means it has taken bath nicely. In water? In the water, samyak vijñānavarina. In the right knowledge, in the water of right knowledge. My mind is cleansed, has taken bath in the water of pure knowledge, right knowledge. Therefore, since it has taken bath in the right knowledge, therefore, Pūtātma, Puimpavane dhatu, pure, to be pure. Pūtātma, it is purified. My mind is purified because Puta Atma. Atma means not self, pure self. No. Atma here means mind. My mind, which is purified. My mind is purified. Because it is always playing in the absolute bliss, the ocean of bliss. Therefore, it is a completely pure. Never does it become sullied, never does it become dirty. Okay. Now, while taking bath, some people chant some mantra, Gange Chamunecha. Some people take Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. This you can see when people take bath in cold water in winter in Rishikesh. You can see all these, you can hear all these sounds. Okay. So this is Aghamarshana Sukta. There is Aghamarshana mantra, a mantra which purifies. Like when you do Sandhya Vandana, there is Apohishtama Yobhavaha, Tana Urketa Dhatana, Maherana Jakshase, that mantra. Like this, there are other mantras. Like this mantra which I repeat again in Dhata Yatha Purma Kalpayat. Suryas Chandramaso Dhata Yatha Purma Kalpayat. The sun and moon are created as it was in the previous creation by the Creator. Those mantras are part of this Aghamarshana. There is Aghamarshana Sukta, that's a big Sukta. So all talking about this purification. Okay. Now, that is the mantra which is chanted. That is mantra snana. Okay. Now, regarding that, it is said, Aghamaršanam guryāt pāpā pāpa nirodha prāṇāpāna nirodhatah manah purne samadhāya magna kumbho yatharnave. Atha aghamaršanam kuryāt prāna apāna nirodhatah manah purne samadhāya magna kumbha yatha arnave. Atha aghamaršanam kuryāt. Now here, atha, thereafter, after taking bath. Thereafter, arnave, arnava, arnav is a name, arnav. We have Arnab Goswami. There is a anchor, news anchor, who is also owner of this channel. Arnab Goswami. It's Arnav. Arnav became Arnab. Vabhayor abhedat. Okay. So Arnave means in the ocean. Arnava is also ocean. Okay. So thereafter in the ocean. Ocean, what kind of ocean? What happens to that ocean? Magna Kumbha Iva. Yatha. Like the immersed pot. You fill the pot with very pure water. RO water. Now you immerse it in ocean. What happens? Completely it merges with the ocean water. Or you put an empty pot inside. What happens? It is filled with the ocean water. Whatever, whichever way. It is completely filled with ocean water. It does not keep this water. Oh, no, don't mix with me. I am RO water. I am pure water. No. It always is it always mixes. There, similarly, Magna Kumbhayatha, like the immersed pot in the ocean. Similarly, Prana Apana Nirodhatah. Prana Apana Nirodhatah. By controlling both the prana and apana. Two kinds of vayu, two kinds of air. The exhaling and inhaling. Manaha purne samadhaya. Establish your mind in the absolute. Now, before that, you have to understand prana, the controlling the prana and controlling the mind go hand in hand. If you control the prana, the mind gets controlled. If you control the mind, the prana gets controlled. This is because the prana and apana arise from the same origin, the same place. One is jnana shakti. The mind is jnana shakti, the power of knowledge. And the prana is kriya shakti, the power of action. So, the mind, you control the jnana shakti, the kriya shakti is controlled. You control the kriya shakti, the prana activity is controlled. Okay, so he says by controlling, not by stopping. Nirodhataha does not mean by stopping, but by controlling. If you stop the prana and apana activity, you are dead. You cannot control the mind or become pure or whatever. You are over. So by controlling the prana and apana, that's pranayama, right? So by controlling that, you control the mind, and that mind, purne samadhi, establishing samadhaya samadhi, by establishing it in the absolute. Aghamarashanam kuryat, perform this aghamarashana. Aghamarshana is a mantra snana. I already said this. But aghamarshana also means aghamarshana. The word, what does aghamarshana means? Agha means papa, sin. Marshana, mrsha marshne, to cleanse. To cleanse the sin. That is what is this. When you control the prana and place your mind in the self, that instance, that even if it is for a second, that cleanses the sins. So perform that cleansing of sins through this activity. Okay, we'll see this. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevāvaśiṣyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.